What is up, guys? Cedarby here, coming at you with the next war recap. This was against Margaritaville. Did a very good job on their end. Ended up getting us by 1 star. Damn near a perfect war on both ends. Top 3 bases for us, 2-starred. They were able to get our number 2, J. Ross, out of 3-star, which is what got them the win. Had we been able to get another star, I think we may have got them on percentage. It would have been close, but let's take a look. No, I think they would have had us maybe by a percent or two, but that's okay. So moving on, we're going to watch Win taking on number 3. Coming in with a Quad Quake, Shattered, Go Valk, so 2 Golems. I think he has 20 Valks, 4 max in the CC, followed up with a few archers, but he's going to drop his Quad Quake, open up that big wide core, let those Valks do whatever they want. Drops his Golems in on that left cannon, starts dropping his funnel. Wizards are working in, taking out all the trash buildings, and he does have a little bit of trouble with the wall breakers. Next attack does also have a little bit of a wall breaker fail, so I do want to make an important note on that when we're scouting bases, but CC's troops start to come out after the Golems reroute. He drops the jump spell, drops all the redheads in, drops his king, followed up by his queen here. He's going to drop that freeze spell first. Valks are eventually going to get into the core, then he rages it up. They're going to lock onto that Inferno, take that out, take out the heroes, takes out that Tesla, those 2 Teslas, the Inferno Tower, and everything just kind of splits on him. The Hound's locked onto the King and those few Valks, so they're going to be beaten on that wall. They'll get through it here in just a moment. But the attack just starts to peter out. His queen ended up going around on a hike by herself, so she's going to end up getting a few more percentage points before that Hound locks onto her once that King is dead. He'll pop his ability here in just a second. And then she'll get locked onto by that Hound. She'll take it out, and then the pups are going to clean her up. And he'll go ahead and drop a Wizard on that Dark Barracks on the right, get a couple more percentage points, and that's going to be game. So we'll see how he does it. $59%, 10% off. Close. Alright, moving down, we're going to look at MK. Taking on number 9, Dog of War. He's bringing in a Shattered Go Laloon, 2 Golems, two Hounds. He likes to bring 2 Hounds because he knows he's got the hit points to handle 1 air defense being targeted onto 1 Hound at a time, especially with these Town Hall 8. He's got his level 2 Hounds, so that's how he's going to use it on this. Doesn't even need to use a surgical or rotational style deployment for this attack, so he's going to come in, and this is where I was talking about with the wall breakers. He dropped his Golem up here in the middle. It comes into the middle of the wall on this compartment. Now, scouting your bases, when you're figuring out an entry point, if you're using wall breakers, you want to identify where its splash damage is going to be. So a couple of things that he could have done differently. Number 1, for any attack also, you want to bring 1 more wall breaker than you're going to need to bust through the wall. That first wall breaker will be used as a test wall breaker for a spring trap or a small bomb, or to see if you can trigger out a mortar shell, something to that nature. But had he dropped his Golem maybe up here on the left, it could have attached to that corner. It's soaking up all of the damage from the Wizard. And he could have dropped his wall breakers up here. It breaks in, Golem would reroute, and then he'll get the full value out of his troops. Unfortunately, it does take him a while. The defenses in that compartment go, so the Golem reroutes to the right. And then he ends up only getting 1 Golem into the base, but because he does have a very well planned out attack, he ends up pulling it off still. So he starts making his funnel, his King goes in, it's going to start beating on that wall. Sorry guys, need a drink. So the Golem reroutes, Wizards start working in behind it. CC Hound is going to come out in just a second. He's going to drop a heal spell, make sure his troops are nice and full for this next entry into the base, drops a rage spell. The king finally gets through. The queen is going to start beating on him. He drops that jump spell. Perfect timing. Lets the king take out the queen and that air defense. Drops the poison spell for the hound that had popped. Wizards and queen take that all out. And at this point, all the threats are down. So CC has handled the... Wow, that's a nice pause right there. It looks cool, huh? But the CC is down. The 2 air defenses he wanted down are down. And at this point, it's just time for the rest of his attack. He starts bringing in his Lava Hounds one at a time, as we talked about. They individually will lock onto that Hound. He drops his haste spells, followed up by 5 or 6 loons on each defense, and he's just going to crush it. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the full value out of his Hounds on this, but there's nothing he could have really done about it. As I said, he has, those max Lava Hounds for Town Hall 9 coming into Town Hall 8 defenses, Town Hall 8 base. They're not going to be able to, the traps and all the point defense, the archer towers essentially, them being all down and not compact and that tight together, it affords lots and lots of less DPS for your troops, which in this case, gave him the ability to not have that last hound pop. So, like I said, there's nothing he could have done about this. If this had some Town Hall 9 defenses, perfect raid. He would have had all the pups for cleanup. Not as long for the cleanup process, but he's still got Wizard down here, some pups down, so it doesn't take too long. And MK gets the 3 stars, so good job, buddy. And with the wall breakers, I was just pointing it out, guys, just making a point because it's something that happens to all of us. So, moving on, Rigo coming in. This is a really great attack, and I'm going to highlight just really quick what he does here. He comes in, and he's going to take a Quad Quake, and he's going to open up all of this. What that's going to allow him is the golems he brings in here are going to move into the base. It's going to take out the CC. It's going to take out any bombs or traps that are in there. But after that, with his funneling troops, these defenses go down. So he says, Hogs, I want you to be responsible for this part of the base. So I'm going to send you guys in a surgical fashion here, 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 and a couple following it up in here. Once this section of the base is dead, right here, everything's going to come over here into this last section, his kill squad and everything, and there's no way that that archer tower, that mortar, and that wizard tower are going to be able to contend with the amount of force he comes through. So I just wanted to highlight that because he read the base extremely well. So we'll go ahead and see what he does. As we talked about, Quad Quake, he's going to drop it on that center compartment there. It's going to open everything up for him. Drops his first golem, followed up by his second and third. Drops the wizards, they start creating that funnel. Very smart, he does take out the builder huts in the corner. And drops his wall breakers, nice and clean entry like we talked about. His king is going to go in there, locks onto that elixir storage, which is nice because it saves some damage coming to him because those golems can get out in front. They pop those bomb sets. Everything starts locking onto the CC troops. They're still under rage. And like I said, guys, this compartment down here is dead. Minus that Tesla, not a big deal. But look at what's left. I mean, he's got 22 hogs for 5 defenses that can cause that can be of any real threat. And being surgical like this, the base will just collapse. That's the power of surgical. Had he done a one-fingered drop going through there, he has the opportunity to hit a spring trap going in between those defenses. Doing it surgical like this, it eliminates that from happening because the entire side of the base collapses at one side, and then you only have 2 defenses, in this case, left standing. Everything is still focused on the center with the kill squad. I mean, he just ate this base's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and He even elects to say, I'm going to give my kill squad some love, put the heal on them, let them get going. And I know that Rigo does have his queen, but he's a fresh Town Hall 9. As you can see, he's still got Town Hall 9 troops, or Town Hall 8 troops, excuse me. So, you can still take a note for this. His queen is level 3, doesn't have his ability, so essentially it's just kind of providing some extra DPS. She's not going to do a lot in the event. She really needs to pull her weight. She's not strong enough yet to do that. So good job to Rigo holding it down. And next one we're going to go to is Diggy, coming in with another Go Valo. And like I said last time, guys, with his attack, last war recap, all those air defenses are in the center. Get your Valks into the center. Make sure they have, you have to know where your Valks are going to go, and you'll be okay. He's going to quad quake on this junction right here. It's going to afford him the opportunity to go all the way into the core, get, that entire side eliminated. And then once the air defenses are down, he's got 12 loons to come through here on the back end. So let's see what he does. No, I thought it froze for a second, but he only brought one hog. Had he brought both hogs, he would have been able to get that witch out of the CC, which he isn't able to. That's okay, though. Ground troops for the Valks are not a big deal, especially since he's going to drop a heal and a rage once he gets in there. Not a big deal. So he draws the CC troops a little bit closer together, a couple of archers, drops his golem down. He's going to follow it up with a few wizards to tank, to clean up, and then they'll start to create and help with the funnel some. The other thing is he does come in nice and heavy with the wizards because he knows that his golem is going to be going pretty far into the base without really any supports at this point, and because he has to get his Valks in there safely without him wrapping, he does come a little bit heavy with the wizards, which is, a good thing because he doesn't have the poison spell. That witch is still popping those skeletons, so it is important. That's something you have to think about sometimes with the Valks and how far your golem's going to go through. Maybe if he had waited a little bit on the deployment of his quad quake, he could have had his golem sitting out there doing a little bit of tanking, wait for the funnel to get going, and then drop it to have it enter when he wanted it to, instead of dropping it right off the bat. But with that being said, he knocked out that entire 3 sections, essentially, that whole side of the base like we talked about. His king is relatively untouched, hasn't even popped his ability. Wizards are in there, Valks are in there, Max Valk is in there, as you can see. The Teslas and the air defenses are about to go down, and then he's going to drop his loons here. Just a second, guys, let me take a drink. So, note I'd like to make, in this instance, this base, let's say this archer tower down here wasn't locked on to what's in the center. I believe it's a Valk. When he drops his balloons on this back side here, if he dropped 3 balloons on this archer tower, there's a small possibility that archer tower might be able to take down 1 balloon in the time it takes him to get there. That's going to leave 2 balloons standing. Now, you do this with, 3 or 4, if you're lucky, 5 enough point defenses. That's going to be 6, 8, 10, 12 balloons moving into the core of the base after you take out that first section. Now, in this scenario, he doesn't have core left to do that because he just demolished it. But if this was a Town Hall 9 attack coming in with Lava Hounds and you're doing a surgical deployment, with a clockwise or counterclockwise rotation, that's really when that would apply, because after that first section gets out, those Lava Hounds would move over. Everything would move into the core of the base as the next closest defense. And that's the idea with the surgical hogs as well. So let's watch the way he takes out the rest of it. Absolutely crushes it. And, see here, this archer tower, yeah, gets him about down. But like I said, there's 2 still up. So Those regroup, he gets about 3 of them, and that's a lot of DPS coming through there. Those loons do move pretty slow. That air sweeper is going to be pesky, but look at what this archer tower does over here. It's not maybe 3 or 4 balloons before it goes down itself. So, good job, Diggy. Wait for the cleanup. This is where if he had maybe saved 1 balloon, just brought another minion or 2, he could have dropped it down here, or another wizard, just for a little bit of cleanup help, but not a big deal for him on this. And coming up next, we're just going to watch Pinky take this out. Get another Town Hall 8 raid in here. Now, the reason I wanted to go over this one is this is you could do this as all hog raid. The reason why, as you'll see, he's going to trip all 3 of the giant bombs before the raid even starts. On top of that, the base is so compact, there's really no threat for spring traps, especially if you're coming in with a whole hog raid. Spring traps aren't going to be a factor. All hogs, all heal, minus, with the exception of taking out the CC, you still have to do that. But the objectives are done. When he takes out the CC, he's going to take out the king. And he already triggered all the bombs, so the base is so compact, you don't have to worry about anything else. You could just come in with the straight Asian wall on this side. If you don't know what an Asian wall is, that's where you just kind of take your hogs, drag them across, and then, they'll just come in like this. You could do, just a full, swarm and just come in this side. It really doesn't matter. You wouldn't want to do surgical on this type of base, or really compact bases in general, because that's a lot of DPS still coming to them at one time, and if you spread them too thin, they're going to go down too quickly. So that's the one note I'd like to make on this. If you come in with an all-hog raid on a base like this, just keep your hogs together and come in with all heals, and you'll be fine. So he does elect to just come in, what's comfortable to him. He knows he's not going to have any problem taking this base out. And, like I said, terrible base. 3 barbarians, takes out all 3 giant bombs. CC gets drawn out. There's a couple witches in there, it looks like. And uses the archer, brings him up top. That's going to go down. He's going to drop his golems, let the wizards follow up behind it. And he'll take out the king, and he's just going to send in his hogs on 2 sides, kind of a 2-finger drop, and just letting them work through. So, go ahead and see what he does. Wall breakers come in, king goes in, he's going to take out a few defenses, takes out that cannon. Heavy, he only sent about 3 hogs up there on the top, so maybe what I said about, not spreading your hogs too thin, maybe it didn't apply to this base in particular, but idealistically, that's something to keep in mind, like a rule of thumb. So nothing really to do here but to sit back, watch the cleanup, and that's going to be the last raid for today that we're going to cover. Margaritaville, if you ever watch this, thanks for a great war. And until next time, this is Cedarby with Rare Privilege, out until next time.